What's up, fellow clashers? It's Apolline here, and I'm going to bring to you what can arguably be considered the most powerful attack at Town Hall 10 right now. It is a spammy attack, but it works, especially if you do it correctly and you've got your spell placements correct. It's very similar to the blue Veeler that was done at Town Hall 9, using a queen walk from one side towards the core and a king to funnel the other, and then just shoving your Valkyries and bowlers right up the core, raging, healing, right in there, and they just take care of it. So we'll check it out. The key to this, like I was saying, is really just the funneling. We're using a baby dragon at 3 o'clock. We're using our, I think a bowler bounce there at around 6 o'clock to make sure that we can get the right amount of buildings that we need so that we can drop the queen down and then the king to do the rest of the funneling. There we go with the king. Right in time before they get to the bowler gets targeted, so even more buildings will be done there. There we go with the wizard at about 5:30, and then we have the queen that's going to take out the whiz tower and the elixir storage, making sure it's outside of that inferno tower range that's we can see right there. So everything's going great, and the Valks have absolutely nowhere to go but into the core at this part. Drop all the Valks. Drop the bowlers behind. The giant bomb does nothing to them whatsoever. They just shrug it off. We've got a rage, now we've got a heal, and we've got a poison. They will shred through that CC, whatever it is, except for whatever is air targeting. The queen will step up and take care of that. Queen will also step up and take care of that inferno tower, the first one. And then we've got them just completely going through the rest of the core with another rage and another heal. There we go with our last rage. And we've got a skelly trap for the inferno tower. There we go. That will distract him as soon as it takes care of that targeted one. And we've got a healer switch onto those Valks and bowlers there into the core. Unfortunately, it does hit a Sam. But now we've got another group of healers, or at least a healer, to come in here. And this is where the power of the attack comes in. They will slow down a little bit without any more spells, and with a little bit lessening of the Valkyries due to splits, due to spring traps, giant bombs, whatever. But we still have a good group of bowlers and Valks that are making their way through the rest of this base, and they're just going to stay up with those healers. They do so much healing there, especially for regular troops. But the key to this is keeping a back end of either hogs or loons. Now, for this attack, Ballin is doing a really good job being very, very patient without dropping those hogs. And it really is the key to making a successful raid, because towards the end, when you only have a handful of Valks left, and they have to get all these buildings that are and the inside, right on the inside of the outside of the base, if that makes sense, they're going to have to bust through walls and get targeted by these point defenses. But that's where the hogs come in. So we're sending those 8 hogs in to reach those cannons that are within the wall and that archer tower that's within the wall that would really just start picking off one by one the Valks. But while those Valks are tanking, those hogs are just going to come through. They are going to hit a spring trap, but they're just going to come through and wipe out the rest of those inside defenses. So really, really cool. We're going to see Ballin get a 6-pack. We're going to jump down to another one of his attacks during this war. And watch him use, I think it's almost the exact same composition, if not the exact same. He's very comfortable with this comp. I personally like to use 6 giants and 11 Valks. I find that if I send the giants in first, they usually tank for Inferno Tower a little bit better, and you don't lose as many Valks right off the bat, and it's a little bit less troop space. So, but that's my personal opinion. If I get an attack that I can show you like that, I used some different attacks during this war. But again, the key to this is the funneling part. You don't want your Valks walking outside and walking all around the base. So we've got a bowler bounce here at around 6:30, and then we've got a baby dragon funneling up from 9 o'clock until 10 or whatever, until it reaches that AD. And we've got a queen that's with healers that is going to funnel all the way down towards 7, dropping the king to make sure that those Valks don't go towards the 6 o'clock. And we're going to have to pop that king in just a little bit, not because of the defenses, but because we want those Valks to go right into that core and not into the town hall. You never know with them. They're very, very fickle. But right now, we've got another giant bomb. Again, the Valks just shrug off that giant bomb, especially with a heal being dropped right here and a poison on the CC. So we've got the queen coming in here. Those bowlers will take out that first Inferno tower. Queen's getting healed up to full again. Still has ability with those healers. Now this is awesome because the healers do a switch onto that group of Valkyries and the bowlers. It's just perfect timing. Now Ballin held on to his hogs on the last time. Now it's going to be the opposite. Now with this queen, we want this queen to live, so we're going to go ahead and drop the the skelly on the Inferno tower and use those hogs up towards the noon compartment to get those buildings that the queen might not necessarily be able to reach, or just getting them in time before all those point defenses take the queen out. And they do just such a good job because the queen is running really low on health, tanking for those hogs, and it's just game over. I think we have like 6 to 8 Valks going. We're going to speed it up a little bit. Hogs, everything just completely crushing the base. Really, really super strong, and you see how fast it's done. I think that was probably like a 1.5 minute attack. You just spend the little bit of time doing the funneling. So we're going to look at one more with, I think, it's just a little different composition. We've got one extra Valk. I think we've got 15 Valks here. We still have a bowler, but it's all about how many troops that you need to do the funneling, right? Because the Valks usually can take care of most of the base towards the end, as well as the hogs. So it's really about getting them into the core. So we're using a bowler bounce at noon here, using a baby dragon at 3, and I think you can tell where we're going to send the Valks in, right in that 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock area where the 2 archers are, one on the outside, one on the inside, and they're going to just walk right into the core, get that Inferno tower super quick. That's another reason why I like to use giants, because in this particular case, that Inferno tower would be targeting this giants first and let those Valks get in and really be untouched. But we're going to drop the king in just a second. Down by that noon to get the barracks with, I think, a wizard behind. And queen pops her ability instead of using rage. That's up to you on what you can think about getting within the base. Sometimes some people like to use a rage to keep the ability for the queen, depending on how far the other Inferno tower is. But we're using that first rage to get all those Valks in there, all those bowlers, giant, everything like that, dropping a heal there. Poison on the CC. Queen will jump in also and just follow the path of these Valks and take out any of those air targeting troops, so no problem there. We've got a healthy group of kill squad coming through the core, dropping another rage and another heal, just making their way through there. The Valks have made their way all the way down towards the 4 o'clock. This is where you drop that Skelly spell on top of the Inferno tower, right? Using the hogs a little earlier again, trying to get that Inferno tower. And the Inferno tower is going to be focused on the healers and the hogs, which is that's the problem that it's going to find, because the Skelly trap can actually take out that Inferno tower itself if there's no other defenses on it. The other defenses are being tanked by the hogs, so that Inferno tower is just about, it's got a sliver of health, and it's just about done. We've got a bunch of Valks still up. I don't know if we have any more hogs, but we don't really need them. We've got a great path to that Inferno tower through those Valks and bowlers and everything else. Look at the queen. She's just going to step up. She doesn't even have the ability, but she's just going to one-shot that Inferno tower, then take out the Skelly traps. The healers are going to catch up to her, and it's all over. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you haven't used it already, try some different compositions of your own, see what works. The spells, it's really the spell placement, dropping the rage really quick to get the Valks into the base, then healing them, rage, healing them, and then rage, and then just drop the hogs at the right time. So go ahead and use this strat in your friendly challenges, practice those 6-star get those 6-star clan wars, and practice those 3-star attacks.